What is going on, everybody? We are back for another episode of the ABJ Podcast, episode 83 with Erica Hong Kong Pee Pee Poo Poo Leigh. It's not in the title, but you'll find out all that in a minute. Before we get into anything housekeeping business, all links below for myself as well as my guests will be below. For this one, I will ask because my guest does have their own content and their own space and their own YouTube channel that criminally only has like 170 some subscribers. We need those numbers up because they make really good content. So please go to the links below and make sure you support all their social medias and the YouTube page by giving it a subscribe. Also, any merchandise for the ABJ Podcast, go check it out right now. A bunch of new t-shirts and merch and Patreons and all that fun thing. These episodes, have gone that whole route of not being live anymore, but there are ways that you can benefit and check it out. If you're a member of the Discord, which is completely free, you can watch them as they record, and the recording days are all over the place as of right now, but that will be changing soon with new work hours coming for me, as well as the Patreon. So if you watch this on a Thursday, you can see it early on a Monday, and the minimum requirement to get into the Patreon is $1, but you can do anything you want, whatever you want to support or do monthly, you can. But the lowest I was able to get it down to was $1. So if you want to support, pay $1 and you see all the content early the Monday before it drops on a Thursday. So just an idea, just to try to push some traffic there to help pay the bills, just pretty much pay for StreamYard. But the people who have been keeping the lights on, Suplex Vintage Wrestling. Guys, it has finally happened. A whole store fully dedicated to vintage wrestling. They say it can never be done, but I've seen it with my own eyes. Suplex Vintage Wrestling is a store curated by wrestling fans for wrestling fans. Located on 5th Street in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, just 1 block south of South Street in the heart of Queen Village, their shop features the largest collection of vintage wrestling apparel under one roof. Their selection includes classic designs featuring your favorite wrestlers from the Golden Age, Attitude, Internationals, Indies, and more. And if you're tired of watching premium live events at home, SVW hosts the best watch party since your friend Kyle's birthday when you were 12. And if shirts and watch parties aren't your thing, let's not forget about their selection of figures, replica belts, trading cards, and from their t-shirts and hats to rare wrestling memorabilia, they have something for every wrestling enthusiast out there. So what are you waiting for? Check them out at suplex.svw on Instagram or on their website, suplex.svw.com, and let them satisfy your nostalgia wrestling needs. I actually got through that one pretty good that time. I usually fumble pretty hard. I guess doing 2 in one day helped out. But without further ado, I want to bring in my guest. This is someone who I got to start working with a lot at the Camp Leapfrog side of things. Always a pleasure to work with. She's an absolute one of the funniest people I've met, and also her group of people she hangs out with are hilarious. But don't let the funniness fool you, because one of the best wrestling matches I've ever seen, female match wise, is her, and that turned into a Japanese strong style, just beat the shit out of each other match. So not only is she hilarious, but she'll fuck you up. She'll beat the shit out of you. She's giving me the confused face. I'll bring it in a second, ask what match it is. But hard hitting and just all around great performer and just absolutely hilarious, Erica Leigh. What's going on?
Pee pee poo poo, all of the above. What's going on?
The match is at PPW, and you and Christina Marie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you guys beat the dog shit out of each other.
Wow, that's really funny.
It was awesome. It was really good. It was one of the first, because you obviously, I there's 2 people in this business that I think that I really respect and admire when it comes to what they do in the ring, and you both have the same kind of thing where you present a funny-ish character and you don't take yourself super seriously, but you also have that spot in the match where you can get serious, and then you start throwing the bombs, and you force them to take you seriously throughout the match. And I think the 2 people who do it the best are you and Willow Nightingale. Like when Willow pulls the straps down, the smile goes away, and Willow's gonna fuck you up. And you have that.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you have that same demeanor to you with your character and the way you perform in the ring as well. Like you and Christina, I thought showcased that the best. Check out the PPW archives, because you were doing the honk honk, and she's like, "I'll honk honk you, bitch," and then you guys just started like working, and it was good. Like you beat the shit out of each other, and even went in the back. You guys were like high fiving each other, like, "Yo, that was a lot of fun," because it wasn't.
Funny.
It was good. It was like it was a Japanese strong style match.
So that match, the thing that I remember most about that match is it was an entirely new audience for me. There's not really that much crossover between Broadheadsville, PA, and like the places I've been working in, like New Jersey, where I had been getting like really good crowd reactions, and I think they're more tuned into like the social media side of things. So I was getting like really intense pee pee poo poo chants.
Yes.
And so I thought, okay, like let me roll with it. Like I can like lean into it. And the crowd at PPW was not buying into my shit and piss talk.
Yeah.
They
But
were
they're
not,
also
they were not
Christina
into it.
Marie is also a mainstay there. She's been like they're one of their top champions of the promotion.
Yeah.
And even though she's a heel, they love her.
Yeah.
So the fact that she kind of like started beating you up pretty good, and then you were like, all right, I'm gonna start firing back. I think by the end the crowd was like, this is crazy. Like it was I was on commentary for that match, and I'm very happy I was, because it was a very good match.
That's funny. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, as I said, you and Willow have that demeanor where you're very funny and smiling, and your smile's contagious. But when it gets serious, someone's getting fucked up.
There is absolutely nothing else to do. You know, when you're getting punched, you just punch back.
Yeah. So when did you fall in love with the world of professional wrestling?
Really not that long ago. I think it was like 2015. 2015, I started watching wrestling. And then I think by late 2017, I was training. So,
wow.
Yeah, it was one of those things that as a kid, I never gravitated towards. No one in my family watched it. The only kid that I knew who liked wrestling was weird. So I was like, it's not for me. Yeah. I mean, and so then, the person I was dating at the time was like, let's watch Monday Night Raw. And I was like, this is going to be not a good date. But it was great. Like I fell in love with him. I fell in love with wrestling. And it was Jerry the King Lawler yelping on commentary that really like sealed the deal for me. I was like, oh, it's self-aware. Oh, it's funny. Oh, I get it. And there's something about it. I was like, I think I could do this. Like, I don't know why. I don't know what in my brain made me think that. Because it is kind of a crazy thing to say to yourself, right? Like you see a professional wrestling match and you're like, you know what? I think I could do that. But I really did. And I can. So I was right.
Now, were you growing up, even though wrestling wasn't a thing for you, were you always into sports or athletics or theater? Or so was there a transition from that to be like, oh, that's why you picked it up so the way you did?
Yeah, I think wrestling is a little bit of so many things all rolled into one. It's a little bit of improv. It's a little bit of theater. It's a little bit of dance. It's a little bit of, sports. It's a little bit of everything. And I wasn't like amazing at any one thing. I was like pretty good at a lot of stuff. And I was like, you know what? I think I'd be like good enough at all of these aspects to like roll it together. I tried out for a play in high school, and when it came time to like sing in the audition, I was like, I'm so sorry. And I left the stage because I was like, nope. It just like came out as like a whisper scream. And I was like, that is it for me. I'm going to join the pit band because I did play the violin. So I like was involved in like music and theater in a way. And I was on a few different sports teams. So I loved tennis. It's like my number one sport from like 7 years old to 20, whatever I am now. And it's just been a nice way to roll all my like, I'm okay at that. I'm like pretty good at this. I have great timing. I'll say that's the one thing I excel in. I have really good timing. So yeah, when I started doing wrestling, I was like, it is a little bit of all of these things that I've done in the past and am like pretty good at. And now I can like use them all at the same time.
Yeah. When you transitioned from the fan and saying you wanted to do that, around what time frame was that? Were you like in college, outside of college, working shoot jobs? And then how did you find your school to then start training?
So I grew up in New Jersey, and then when I wanted to start wrestling, I was living in Virginia, which is ass backwards for wrestling. And I Googled schools and like one came up, but it had like closed like a couple months before, like just a couple months before. I remember looking at it and being like, wow, that's like not a great omen, I guess. And then MCW was like the other closest one, but that would be like 3 hours from where I was living. So I was like, not a great start. I don't know where I'm going to go. And like, I like dragged my feet for a couple months, like just kind of unsure of what to do next. And then I actually met, Jordan Blade, through like a mutual friend, on Facebook. Actually, I just messaged Jordan Blade like cold. It was like, hey, so I see you're a wrestler and that's what I want to do. And like, can we like get together and talk about it? And she was cool enough to be like, yeah, absolutely. Like we'll meet. We got drinks and talked, and she was like, all right, just come to training with me. And I was like, you don't have to see me do like a push-up or like run a mile.
Yeah, right here in the bar.
You can't, like, you don't need to know that I can do anything. I'm just going to come, show up. And she was like, yep. And I just stuck with it. I don't know. Like, I think a lot of people have a good time with something, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I just like kept coming back. I'm sure I could have like trained for a couple months and been like, wow, what a zany thing I did. But instead it's like 5 years later, 6 years later. And I'm like, wow, what a zany thing I'm still doing.
Yeah. And it's crazy too. Cause like one of the memories I have, of you that, and you weren't even in the building. I think I messaged you about it though, if I'm not mistaken. I think I think after it happened, I shot you a message on Instagram because I was like super proud of you and just the fact that your name got brought up in this light. But I was helping with a meet and greet, and I was with Mike and Maria Canellis Bennett, and Maria was talking about how she was very proud that she was really in depth. Like she knew the locker room of PPW and like knew the names of all the people that were working there that day. And I was like, I was really impressed that someone who's been to WWE, has been to Japan, has done all this. I'm like, you're really in depth with the indie scene. And she's like, yeah, I was booking the ROH's women's tournament before ROH shut down because of the pandemic. Right. And she was given opportunities to Willow and Maxie Impaler and all these other really talented people on the scene. And without prompt or anything, she listed off another 5 or 6 names, and you were one of the names she said.
That's so bizarre because she's never booked me for her promotion.
Yeah, she was reaching, like she was aware of you though. Because she even said your name to me, because I remember even saying like Maria Canellis is aware of you. But I don't also think at that point in time, I don't know if she ever got to a point where she was able to then book again after that. Like I don't know if she's involved with ROH now or AEW or behind the scenes when it comes to the women's division. But when she was there, she was scouting ahead of independent talent.
She has like the women's wrestling army, right?
She might. I'm not sure.
Yeah, she books, or she did at least. I don't know if she's too busy now with AEW, but she booked a lot of shows for them in Rhode Island, I think was one, and I think they run more in Chicago. But yeah, she never booked me.
That's a bummer.
Isn't that weird?
It is, but she brought your name up, and I was like, I'm aware of those people. That's awesome that she knew of you, but unfortunately, it never panned out to anything. But it's showing that your work is being seen out there in the short amount of time you've been doing it with the 5 or 6 years, and even around that, it probably was like another 2 years ago since we're talking now. So growing in the business and then getting into school and start training. Who were some of the people that you looked at? Like, did you go back and start tape studying older wrestlers or older stuff, like older matches or different people? Because the time that you got into it till now, like women's wrestling evolved so quickly in that time frame from being bra and panty matches to being taken seriously.
It has really exploded since I started watching, I think. I mean, I watched the first Mae Young Classic and cried, like no shame. I literally cried because I was like, oh my God, this is so important. Because I felt like here's a serious representation of female athletes and women in wrestling. And then I remember watching, what's it called? Wrestle Circus, right? I always want to say Wrestle Carnival, but that's not it. I think
so. Yeah.
Wrestle Circus in 2000, maybe 16 or 17. And it was Chelsea Green versus Tessa Blanchard, I think. And I remember thinking like, holy shit, these girls are going hard. Like dives into chairs and just like, it was the first time I had seen women do stuff like that. And now it's like that match, not to shit on them, but that match is like sort of like that level of intensity is sort of like a commonplace standard for women's matches.
Yeah. Tessa's a big trailblazer with that, because she was always deemed as like the chick who hits hard. Like she because you know her dad and then Magnum, like her dad and her stepdad, she kind of like was one of the first people that they like labeled as she's like a strong style Japanese female wrestler, and she'll beat the shit out of you. Yeah, she set a high bar, and yeah, first woman to win a men's world title, right? Wasn't she the first one to do that in Impact?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I'm not great with stats. I would say like, because I started watching as an adult, and like you asked, like what I went back and studied, kid brains like just soak stuff up, right? And especially if you want to know, if you're like a statistics oriented person, if you're a numbers person, and you like get into something as a kid, you can like Bohr is an encyclopedia. He can rattle off like what arena the pay-per-view is in.
Yeah, I'm not that good either.
Like the date, like what feuds, like what matches led up to it. Like he can tell you like the attendance of the pay-per-view, like absolutely everything. And then like I can't tell you where I was last month.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
I watched so I did go back and like watch a lot of older wrestling, because that's like what everybody tells you to do when you're training. They're like, you have to go back and watch all the stuff. And like, it's true. I'd rather take inspiration from that than current stuff, because you just don't want to do what everyone else is doing, right? But I would say I just got stuck. I got stuck on 2001 SmackDown. And that's kind of the only wrestling I like. I don't want to watch anything else.
Do you watch current day wrestling at all? Like you
not really.
Not at all.
I got really like really depressed and frustrated, not with wrestling, not because of wrestling, just like life stuff in general. And my like hobbies and interests that once brought me joy were like really daunting to me. And so I just like stopped watching everything to do with wrestling, because it was like a burden emotionally. And I can like dip a toe back in, like especially if I want to watch something that my friends are doing. Like anytime Willow Nightingale's on TV, I'm watching. So I end up watching a fair amount nowadays, right? She's on a lot, which is awesome.
She's killing it.
Yeah, but I don't really go out of my way to watch a lot of modern wrestling, and I don't really go out of my way to watch wrestling, period. I know that sounds like bad, and people will be like, you have to watch for your craft, but I think like I know what I like to watch, which is 2001 SmackDown, and I know like what I want to do, which is, you know, honk honk, duck a line, hit a spear. Like I know, like I know what I want to do. So I love to watch wrestling to support the people that I admire and respect. And every once in a while, there will be a card that I'm like, that looks like those matches are gonna bang. Like that looks good. I might tune into that. But it's really not that often. And I think that's just because I'm a hater.
Yeah. Well, you also roll with a group of people who have been in the business a long time, or have been around the business a long time.
Sort of. They make you think that, because they're like, they look like old grizzled men. Like Killian looks 45. Dustin looks like he's about to die. But they're pretty young. They haven't been around much.
But Killian's been in the business quite some time.
Which one?
Killian.
He's been around like 1 or 2 years longer than me.
Really? I thought he was around longer. It's because he looks so old. It looks like hell.
He looks so old.
Yeah,
and he's done a lot of things.
That's a good line. Look, I remember him and I think Dust on commentary one time for Camp Leapfrog, and I just remember Dustin Killian on commentary, and somebody's in the ring like, look at him, looks like hell.
Looks like hell.
But I think the way they go about wrestling is good. Like the whole crew and that group is because you all can do any style of match you're put into. You want to do crazy, you can do crazy. If you want to do you want to tear the house down, we'll tear the house down. But I think you're all smart enough to know.
True. I would say Miles Millennium can do absolutely anything you ask of him. He is the best wrestler of the group for sure. He's so immensely talented, so athletic. He's so smooth. Like, it's crazy to watch him wrestle because I'm like, dang, like,
and he smokes
give me
so
like
much.
a house for that, Miles. But I think the rest of us, and Eel's pretty versatile as well.
Yes.
Especially now that he's like a mountain of a man.
Yeah. Robbie also very versatile.
Robbie not in the Goons.
He's part of the
Not in the Goons anymore.
Not a goon.
That's been hot news lately. He's not in the Goons anymore.
Yeah.
Lovely guy, but not in the Goons.
There's Goon and then Goon adjacent or Goon past. He's in the Wikipedia of the Goons.
He's Goon opposing now.
Yeah. But I think what that group has encapsulated more than anything is, sure, you can go out and tear the house down and have the best match of the night and be the workhorses. But I think what makes wrestling what it is the moments, the stuff that leads up, the story. That's what people are going to latch onto, and that's what's going to make you last longer in this business on your body, as well as make you last longer because you're going to be stuck in people's brains more. And I think that's where yous are at as a group of, like, a friend group, as well as just in ring and out of the ring.
I definitely agree with that. Yeah, we're definitely more into the storytelling and the moments, and I don't think many people do what the Goons do. Like, off the top of my head, I would say Becca and Little Mean Kathleen with, like, the wedding angle at Beyond with Love Doug and Channing Thomas and Sydney Bacabella. I think that story and anything Becca does, that's about it. Like, nobody else does as much content creation or puts as much effort into long-term storylines or makes angles happen for themselves. Like, Dustin did a wedding angle, and not to, like, piggyback off of
the Mary Beth one. It was great.
Right. At SWO, Dustin made that angle happen against all odds. Like, there were so many things, especially towards the end of it, when other people lost steam. Dustin was like, nope, we're finishing it. Nope, it's coming full circle. Nope, we are wrapping the bow on this. We are doing it big. And, like, all credit to Dustin because he made that happen for himself and for the fans there, because, like, people were going nuts for that angle.
Yeah. I mean, the Erica versus the Goons, that carried across state lines and other promotions.
Right.
Like, that had legs. Yeah.
Yeah. 5 promotions, I want to say.
Which is unheard of in the indie scene. Like, that doesn't happen.
Yeah, right, exactly. So I agree with you that we are definitely, like, moment makers and definitely storytellers. In comparison to, like, the indie scene, I think we're, like, at the top of people, like, making moments matter and making extra content, because we're all involved with other stuff. Like I mentioned, the, like, acting / writing classes, and obviously me and Dustin have our YouTube channel, Birds on Film, and we spend so much time, we put so much effort into content creation that has nothing to do with wrestling, and I think that only strengthens, like, our skill set in wrestling. But yeah, we love to spend our time on other stuff. We have lives, which I think is, you know.
So I have two more wrestling related questions, and then we're going to switch gears here. But who are some of your matches that stand out to you that you have worked that really have helped you in your career, matches that you really, really look back on fondly, and where can people find them, or what promotions, if you even remember? 'Cause I know you work a lot.
So I'll work, like, most recently going backwards. The last match I had was this past weekend for Enjoy Wrestling in Pittsburgh against Holodead. And she is a person that I've wanted to work for a really long time. I actually, like, kind of geeked out and was like, I'm so excited to work with you. But that match was great. Not like the match was great. It was a great experience for me because it was someone I looked up to and felt like I would have to, like politic my way into it, but I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to like tweet at her and like promotions and this and just like try to make it happen. I was just like, I'm just going to keep my head down and keep working. And maybe someday that matchup will happen. Please, please, please. And it finally did. And like, it definitely exceeded my expectations. I'm so glad I got to work with her. I learned from her, not like purposefully. Like I didn't say like, okay, now I'm going to pick your brain. It was just small stuff while we were, you know, out in the ring that she did that I was like, oh, she's so smart. She's so good. And you can find that match on Enjoy's Patreon, I believe. Enjoy Wrestling's Patreon is going to be dropping matches over time. So it might not be out yet, but it will be. And then some other matches that have definitely been milestones. I would not be answering truthfully if I didn't mention Darius Carter. All my matches with Darius Carter have taught me a lot, like huge lessons every time, different lessons every time. And the final of the 2022 men's Super 8 was, I think the match where I had the best balance of like pressure, but also calm. Like I didn't let, I maybe have cracked under pressure in the past. And I think that match, I actually did like rise to the occasion and did myself proud. And I heard a lot of positive feedback from other people about that match. Yeah. Joe Zanoli said it was the best final in Super 8 history. Thank you very much.
And there's been a lot of big names who's rolled through that Super 8. You know what I mean? A lot of people watch on TV right now. Yeah. Now, were you the first female to wrestle in the men's Super 8?
Yes, I was the first female entrant in the men's Super 8.
Yeah.
In the 26 years of that tournament, I was the first female entered into that tournament. The women's tournament has been around for a few years, and I've been in that twice. I lost in the first round in 2020, I think. 2021, I lost in the first round. 2022, I ended up winning the women's tournament.
And that was the year after you were in the finals of the men's, right? You then won the women's the next year. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I apologize to the women's Super 8. I didn't know it was around long, but you as a fan, being a fan of you and what you accomplished up leading to that, you drew eyes on me to then realize that the women's Super 8 was a thing.
That's amazing to hear. It's cool to know that people, I guess that I'm a draw, right? Like that you are a fan of me and my work. And so you've checked out like this entire tournament that has, you know, less history than the men's, but it's there. It's been there. They've been doing it and you didn't know about it. So it's cool to know that I can be like the avenue into people watching more women's wrestling.
So when they presented you with the women's, the men's Super 8 and that you were going to be in it and not just be in it, but you were going to go to the finals and it was going to be you and Darius kind of pulling the curtain back a little bit. What was your emotions hearing that?
Well, so that's the thing. You don't know who's going to the finals. The thing about it
really?
Is that you have to have enough stamina to get to the next round. And that's why I knew that I would win because I'm an athlete and I have a certain, you know, amount of cardio and my skill set. I knew that I would be more prepared to make it to the finals of the tournament.
Yeah, I love that.
Thank you.
Yeah, but no, it was an awesome accomplishment. And when they announced that you were in the running for it, I was like, that's super cool. And I was proud that your name was put in there. Any other matches that stand out for you?
There was a match at 1CW during the pre-show. It was me versus Killian McMurphy. And it was just a really fun match. And I felt like all the beats just kind of made sense and clicked and things were crispy. And I was really tan because I had been at the beach earlier that day. So the pictures are awesome. And that one was just fun. And I got to hang out with my friends. It was just like this like perfect day of being with the people that I love and creating art with them. And it's a special one.
Yeah. One of the ones I'm going to throw out to people that they can watch for free on YouTube over on the YouTube side, Camp Leapfrog. Check out Killian Vision.
Yes.
It is a masterpiece of cinema, and the ending of that is still to this day one of the coolest things I've ever seen. And
I'm
the way
actually
it
wearing
was,
the same shirt that I was wearing in the final scene.
yeah, and it was shot. Independent wrestling had no business having something that looked that good in it.
Thank you.
It
Thank
was
you.
really real. They had a drone shot, for crying out loud. Like,
Yeah,
what
that's what I'm saying. That's what we're saying when we say that the goons are the ones putting in work to make their angles special and important and matter. It's stuff like that. Like, yeah, they could have just not gotten the drone shot, but they got the drone shot.
Yeah, I love that so much. I do have one more kind of backtracking question, just racking my brain of Erica Leigh knowledge that I have. Early in your career, I don't know if it was early or mid training or when you first started breaking out into the scene, you had a pretty serious injury at one point in time, right? You hurt your knee.
My ankle.
Okay. How was that experiencing your first, major injury that sidelined you for a little bit and then mentally bouncing back and getting back into it? Because if I'm not mistaken, it was rough,
I'm glad
right?
it
Like
happened
it was
so early. Yeah, I was I think I was like 10, maybe like 12 or 13 matches in, and my ankle just like exploded. Total freak accident. It just I rolled it, but like so intensely that like the joint sac burst, and I suffered a fracture in my talus or talus. I don't know how to say it. It's like the bone like right in the center of your like ankle / foot. And like people couldn't figure out what was wrong. They like diagnosed me at first with a sprain. So they had me doing like physical therapy, like jumping up and down on it and trying to like strengthen it. And I like got a second opinion, got a third opinion, and they were like, "Oh yeah, you see right here, like that's a fracture." And I was like,
cool. I've been jumping on that.
Yeah, I was like, and what would be the treatment for that? And they're like, "Oh, we're gonna put you in a boot and like isolate it." And I was like, "Yeah, cool."
Yeah. Did you finish the match when you rolled it, or were you able?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, you're a psycho. I'd have been like, tap.
No, it was probably within the first minute and a half of the match.
Oh.
So we went another
people getting hurt. I'm like, you are like Deppin just recently shattered his arm wrestling Zack Sabre Jr., but he's like, I'm not gonna not stop wrestling Zack Sabre Jr. He was, I knew it was hurt. I just kept going.
Yeah, like, there's really like there's probably a doctor or several 100,000 that would argue, yes, you can make things worse, but what are you really gonna make worse at that point? You know? Yeah. I had another match that's like a milestone in my career was against Billy Dixon, and the ring was just like not. We shouldn't have wrestled in it, to be perfectly honest. It was extremely shaky, lumpy, holes, no bottom rope. Like it was just a mess. And we both were really like not sure-footed the entire time. And so things got really wonky, and I ended up just getting blasted in the face. And again, you know, he was like, Billy Dixon was like, okay, you know, we're friends. So he was like, you good? Like, are you sure? And the referee was like, okay, we're going to stop. Cause blood was pouring. And I was like, nope, we are not stopping. We drove like 8-9 hours to be here. We're not stopping. Like the match will proceed.
There's got to be a point though, as a wrestler. Like I know even like as a kid, when you play wrestling, like if you get a little cut and you get some color, you're like, now we can go. Like I got color. Let's have some
That's
fun.
So funny. Yeah. I always said before I was training, and probably even while I was training, but hadn't debuted or hadn't like experienced an injury yet, I was like, if I got hurt, that's it. We're done. Like, I'm not going to be the hero. I'm not going to keep going. I'm going to value my health. Like, there's no way. And then, like, you get popped in the face, or you fall, like, weird, or, like, you know what I mean? Like, you get bruised all over your hips or whatever, and you realize that there's so much that adrenaline can do for you. Like, yeah. You don't notice a lot of stuff when you're that amped up. So, yeah, I was like, we're going to finish.
How did you come up with the concept of Erica Leigh and what that character is when you're in the ring?
I said I'm just gonna throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks, see what people connect with, see what feels natural for me. I picked a name and like sort of a 90s motif that I eventually dropped, and it was really just I'm gonna see what I do and what people like and don't like, and if it makes sense. And that's why I always say, like, I don't really have a gimmick. I don't really have like a character. It's not like wrapped up in a pretty little bow and cohesive, and like it's just sort of a personality.
Mm-hmm. No, and
Which
the personality.
When people say that my gimmick is weird, I tell them to go grow a personality, because that's really what it is. They're boring and I'm not.
I think your character is fun. There's always fun when you're there, but like I said, don't let the fun mistake you. If she wants to kick your ass at any point in this match, it's happening, and there's nothing you're doing about it.
That's right.
So let's dive in to the side hustle you got going on with you and Big Dust with Birds on Film. So where did the name come from and the idea of this? Because one of the things before Birds on Film became a thing, I remember sitting in a house for I Can't Bleep Frog, or in a cabin, we'll say, and I think this is pre-Birds on Film, where they said, we just like to pick a movie franchise and watch every movie in the franchise and then try to rank them. And at that point in time, they were doing the Ernest films. They were just watching every
Dustin
Ernest
was
movie.
Obsessed with Ernest.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that we started doing Birds on Film when he was done with that, because I would not watch more than 30 minutes of an Ernest movie.
Ernest Scared Stupid is a classic.
No, not for me. But I honestly don't remember how we came up with that name. We've been talking about it a lot lately, and I do not remember why. I think it was just the honk sort of thing. And he has a chicken suit.
And you would just dress up as birds.
Yeah, he already had the chicken suit.
Yeah.
So that was kind of it. I got some wings and we called ourselves Birds, and we say if the movie honks or not. I don't know why or where that came from, but it definitely fits. Like I'm not really into like the rating scale. I think it's so subjective. I think it's better just pass, fail, honk, doesn't honk. That's more my style. So I'm glad that me and Dustin get to just baselessly talk about movies, because we really have no qualifications other than we like movies. We like to watch movies.
Do you have a genre of movie you prefer? Or a genre movie you absolutely despise when it comes up that you have to watch it?
I used to really hate animated films.
Okay.
But I've been made to watch quite a few in the last couple of years.
I struggle now with animated films now that I guess like you get older and you get like
growing
up, I love Disney. I can't watch them now.
I wasn't into it. So now that I think Vivo, the Sony movie, really like turned me around on animated movies. That's like one of my favorite movies ever. Great film. And then I don't know, like I can't think of like a favorite genre. I was really into like older, like action / romance movies. Like Roadhouse was my favorite movie for a long time.
I love that.
So I really like that, like late 80s, early 90s. I like men, like old men.
Pop in the background. I love that.
Really, there's something about the way that old men speak that I've always just been like, yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
So something is for like your grandpa, I would probably like.
Yeah.
Not Band of Brothers though.
No. Not cut that.
I've seen it. I just not my favorite.
Now you guys do a mix of movies that have been out and then recently have been doing some movies that are in theaters, which I like the dynamic of the more recent episodes of like the Mario and the Barbie movie where you guys.
That's good to know. That's good to know. All right.
Yeah. The Mario one where you guys fully committed to the bit to wear overalls and t-shirts, and then the green screen didn't work with his shirt, so you made him change it. Like, all funny. I love it.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah. Going to get pasta before the sink bit, all great. Keep that going. But I do love that the old school stuff too, like reviewing older movies that people are like, I wonder what they think of this. So recently, with the Barbie movie coming up was the most recent episode to go check out. I don't want to get you too much of your opinions on it because I want people to go watch it on Birds on Film. But how has that experience been actually going to theaters and kind of adding this dynamic to the show? It's the content.
It's a lot more work to like line up our schedules with the release of a movie and get everybody together because we don't live that close to each other.
And pro wrestling.
Right. So, like normal people would not make the trips that wrestlers do. Like I and other wrestlers are like, oh, it's 4 hours away. Yeah. Well, if I can like stay the night, then for sure, like I'll make that easy. Oh, it's 3 hours away. Yeah, I'll just do it in a day. Like
I used to drive to Atlantic City and back from middle of Pennsylvania, like northeast Pennsylvania.
And it's like
it's crazy.
We don't bat an eye at doing day trips, 4 or 5, 6 hours away. But, me and Dustin, when we want to get together and like film a chunk, we'll like plan to like just take 2 days or whatever and like stay over and watch a bunch of stuff, film a bunch of content. So going to the movies, like I said, it's a lot more work to like coordinate and to go do. And thank God for Killian, who's filming the whole time, because like I wouldn't be able to like selfie stick that in 1,000 years. But I really, really, really love going to the movies with Dustin.
The best line of the most recent episode was we went to the pre-Barbie party. What theater did we go to? I'm not telling these freaks what theater we go to.
Sometimes I'm reminded that Dustin has lived his life as a boy.
Yeah.
And I have not.
Yeah, I'd be like, here's where I live. I'm that kid. Yeah, I'm telling everybody.
Yeah, I like that dynamic a lot because sometimes we run into things where I'm like, no, Dustin, that would be dangerous for me. But when we saw Minions in the movie theater, we had like this tiny little plushie. And as you'd imagine, there was a lot of kids seeing this film. And this one kid who was sitting in our row, as he was like exiting the row and he's like passing in front of us, he turns and sees the Minion that's like sitting in the cup holder between us and goes, ah! And then takes it. Just screams and then takes our toy. And we were like we don't care. Like we like kids. We're not like give it back. It's a toy. It's a kid. Like the kid should have it. But we were like, what? Like we just kind of looked at each other. And then his mom from like 10 seats over and it's like, what are you doing? Give that back to them. And it was just such a great time to like sit there at this kid's movie that we're wholeheartedly enjoying and listen to children like repeat back lines like as it's happening. They're like screaming and yelling and we're like, awesome. You're like, good.
We like the poo pee jokes too.
Exactly. We're like, this is like we should be mental giants in this theater, but we're not.
Yeah. Is there movies coming out or that are in theaters now that you guys have on your radar for future episodes?
So the next movie that's coming out for Birds on Film is going to be Renfield, which I'm actually not sure if it's still in theaters, and probably
I think it's on streaming now. I think if you can watch it on Peacock, I think.
So Nick Cage and I can't say his name. Rory.
That guy.
Shit. But mainly Nick Cage. So I saw that movie and was like, Dustin, we got to do it. So Renfield is the next review to come out, and then we will be doing an entire month of one actor. We're going to have a spotlight September on Nicolas Cage.
Okay.
Because after watching Renfield, I was like, I
need more.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute. And we realized we've already done Moonstruck. So we have this like, what's that, 87 to 20, like a 25 something.
I already know 3 right off the bat that are amazing.
It right? Like he has so many movies over like 35 years that you can like.
How many have you seen so far? Or how many are you going to be seeing for the first time?
So we have a 3-in-1 episode. That will be coming out in September. That's the Spotlight September for Nicolas Cage, and we're going to be reviewing Pig, Mandy, and Snake Eyes.
Okay.
So a pretty like diverse grouping. And then there may be some more thrown in there in shorts. We're not going to dedicate a whole nother episode to it, but we wanted to do like Nicolas Cage's favorite Nicolas Cage movie.
What was his favorite?
His Nicolas Cage's favorite movie is Pig.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
Mine's a 3-way tie. And it's funny because one of them is something I never would get into. But I remember the first time I seen it, and it's when I fell in love with an actress in it. Gone in 60 Seconds. Dreadlock Angelina Jolie in that movie. Yeah, that was a moment. Con Air, another great Nicolas Cage movie.
I hate that.
And
movie.
Face Off.
I don't. Oh, Face Off. Yeah. So Con Air, I actually like the movie, but his god awful accent. Like, what was he doing?
And he's shredded. Isn't he shredded in that movie?
No,
he's shredded to the gills.
I just love all the weird decisions he makes. Which is,
almost being Superman.
When you watch the Birds on Film review, the Spotlight September on Nicolas Cage, you'll get much more of my opinion on his acting choices. But so all of that's coming out soon.
I'm very, very excited. Let me go jump to the Discord real quick, see what people have question wise, and see what we're doing here.
Hit me
with. Let me pull it up.
I'll take a snack. I'll take a little snack break. I've got
take a little crunch. Get a little crunch in.
My jalapeno pineapple Doritos.
Oh, is that they're new, right? That's the new thing.
It's a limited edition flavor. Yes.
How do you feel about it?
My friend Matt gave them to me at this Enjoy show in Pittsburgh. And then I almost forgot to mention, actually, there's another episode of Birds on Film coming out even before all of the Nicolas Cage. Twisted Metal.
Okay, I haven't seen it.
So this is the first time we're doing a television show versus a movie. But we will be. What's that?
Wasn't your thing for a minute there candy and snack reviews as well?
Yes. But we're beyond that. We're into film now. We're into cinema and entertainment. So the Twisted Metal review is going to be coming out much sooner than all of that. So I think by the time this airs, it'll all have dropped. The Twisted Metal, Renfield, and the Spotlight September on Nicolas Cage.
That's perfect. Well, kind of bring back the snack thing real quick, because you did have good takes on snacks. What's your go-to movie theater snack?
Just popcorn. I'm not a nachos girly. I'm not a hot dog person.
No Raisinets, no M&Ms.
I don't even really want to eat the popcorn. It's just there.
Yeah, I don't like popcorn either.
It makes my tummy hurt. I eat it too fast. I can't space it out. For the whole movie.
My first job was a movie theater, and
film or digital?
Film. This one was film, and then went digital before it got shut down.
The tale is always time, right?
Yeah. Well, it got remodeled to a nicer theater, and then I was out of high school by that point in time. I do have an interesting story. So I obviously worked for $7 an hour and didn't care about my job. One of my things I always told my bosses is like, I'm not cleaning up any bodily fluids. So if any bodily fluids happen, I'm just gonna quit. And that's just how it's going down. Yeah. So I would just sign the bathroom log. As soon as I came in, I would just sign from my shift all the way through and say I did it. But I mean, I would go through and sweep up, but I'm not wiping toilets down.
You're not cleaning up piss and shit for $7 an hour.
Exactly.
I get that.
So I did my bathroom checks throughout the whole shift. I got called into work this day. There was a really bad snowstorm around Valentine's Day in like early 2000s or whatever it was. And I'm up at the job and I'm doing this, and all these people are kind of stuck in the parking lot, like truck drivers and stuff. So I go in, do my bathroom check, do my second bathroom check. I legit was doing them. I just wasn't doing them thoroughly, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
So
you saw they were dirty.
No, they weren't dirty. I just would clean up the floor and the countertops, but I wouldn't go into stalls. I wouldn't even look. I don't. If I don't look, then you know what I mean. Like if someone pooped on walls, I would never know because I'm never opening the door.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually lie. I would open in case and always check if there was toilet paper because I can't stand when there's not toilet paper in there for somebody. So I did that aspect.
You know what? You have morals.
Yeah. But if someone made a mess on that, you're on your own.
Right.
So a customer comes out and goes, "Hey, there's a guy on the floor in the bathroom," right? So we go in to look, and he's dead. Yeah, gonzo. I guess a heart attack on the floor, gone. Right. Coroner comes in. We have to shut the theater down. We're all kind of there. My boss comes and goes, "Well, how long has he been in there?" And the coroner's like, "At least an hour." And he looks at the checklist, and of course, I signed all the. And I literally look at my boss like, "Don't you put that on me?" Because he was sitting. I guess what happens? He was sitting on the toilet and like collecting himself, and then like took a heart attack, and then fell after like time. So I wouldn't have known anyway until he hit the floor. But yeah, I got blamed because a guy died on my shift when I should have been cleaning bathrooms. That was my movie theater story. Yeah. Don't the moral of the story here is pay people more, and I would have been more thorough at my job. You know? Yep. I was a high school kid and watched a guy get carted out.
I'm speechless.
I don't think I ever told the story on a podcast. And then the theater that they remodeled to, where the bathroom was now a theater, and all the people who then worked at the second theater said that theater was haunted and chairs would move by themselves.
Right.
So it was the ghost. It was the ghost of the truck driver.
You didn't check the stalls.
Because I was too afraid of bodily fluids that I did not check stalls. Blood's on my hands.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that happened. Movie theater. There it is. So what was I going to ask you with birds? Oh, you said that you're doing a Spotlight series and then you're doing the Twisted Metal. Is there any other TV shows out there that you want to add to the repertoire? And why did you pick Twisted Metal to be the first TV show?
Twisted Metal. I'm
because Dust is a big gamer, so a lot of gamers get
Dust is a big gamer, but my Instagram profile does say gamer.
Yes.
Does his?
It doesn't.
No.
A lot of video game movie adaptations have been getting put in there. Sonic for obvious reasons in there. Mario, now Twisted Metal.
Sonic is in there, but I'm not.
Yeah. You didn't like the movie?
No, I just wasn't available that day.
Oh, okay. I actually enjoyed the Sonic movies, and the entire time watching it, I kept thinking of Killian.
Movies.
Yeah, I thought
I really like Sonic movies. Twisted Metal I think it just like hit enough buttons in my brain that I was like, we got to do it. And if you watch the review on the YouTube channel, Birds on Film, you'll hear why. But it definitely was like an obvious choice just because of how much I enjoyed it. So
yeah, I'm pumped. I can't wait to see the review. I have to find more TV shows. My problem is I instead of watching new stuff, I just rewatch the same things that like my comfort food shows and just rewatch the same show 155 times.
Have you ever watched Our Flag Means Death?
I have not.
So that is one that I would add to the Birds channel, but I think it's a tough choice because I might just cry through the whole thing. I have watched that show like 4, maybe 5 times. It's my favorite TV show of the last like 10 years.
Yeah. If you had a desert island movies, what 3 movies are your favorite movies of all time?
Can we add? Is our TV shows in there or just movies?
We'll do you could put 3 TV show, 3 movie.
Okay. Frasier.
Okay.
Our Flag Means Death. And King of the Hill?
Okay. We just wasn't the one voice actor just passed away?
Yeah, he did.
Dale, right? Yeah.
Really sad. Yeah, they were supposed to do like the reboot, and I don't know what'll happen with that now because I don't think he finished.
Yeah.
Like recording.
The bad part but good part of voice acting is so many people can like imitate voices now that like
right.
you can if you wanted to keep the character alive they could, but it's not the same. Yeah.
But movies. I know for sure the BBC miniseries adaptation of Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice with Colin Firth and Jennifer Eel.
Okay.
That's number one. I think Moonstruck is also a desert island movie. And Vivo.
I learned through this episode I have to watch these 3 movies. I've never seen any of them.
You have to watch Vivo. I would say Vivo is like the most digestible of those 3. Moonstruck is great, but a lot of people don't like older movies. And even though it was made in like 1987, like people are going to look at it and be like, when was the turn of the century?
Yeah.
And then the Pride and Prejudice adaptation is 5.5 hours.
Oh, wow.
Because it's a miniseries technically.
Yeah.
I do not fuck with the Keira Knightley version. I do not.
You don't get it out of here.
I do not. That's not my movie.
Breakfast Club's high on my list. Ferris Bueller and Goodfellas are probably very high on my list.
I love Goodfellas. Like I said, I love old men.
There's a lot in that one. Is De Niro high on your list? Is De Niro like, who's the king old man for you? Like,
king old man. Oh my God, that's such a good question. I don't know. I don't know who my king old man is. I'll have to think about that. There's so many. I really like. Speaking of Goodfellas, Ray Liotta.
Do you see Cocaine Bear yet?
No, I haven't.
Oh, do it. It's awesome. Awesome. Yeah.
Okay.
It's his last movie. It's Ray Liotta's last movie.
Is he?
He's Ray Liotta.
Is he that like prominent in it?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, okay. I just didn't know. All I knew was the bear.
Yeah. It's awesome. It's as stupid as you think it's gonna be, but it's awesome.
I think another old man movie for me, like as a genre, an old man movie, is Exorcist 3.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you the actors' names, but everybody.
Did you see the trailer for the remake of they're making a prequel of The Exorcist?
No,
like
I haven't.
It's gonna take place after the events of I guess like Reagan's story. It's like a retcon. Yeah, it's like a retcon new adaptation. There's a lot coming out this year. I'm pretty excited. The one I really want to see that's out now. This year has been insane for nostalgia, especially like our generation's nostalgia. Barbie, Mario, Sonic. The big one for me that
years the theme has been
nostalgia.
Millennials nostalgia, like escapism.
Yeah, throw all one Spider-Mans into one movie. Bring all the Power Rangers back for Netflix.
When I saw Alfred Molina on that big screen in the theater, I literally pumped my fist in the air. I said, "That's my Doc Ock."
The one I want to see the new Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, it looks so cool. The art style looks so cool.
And what I like about the idea of this is they took, because every Ninja Turtle movies we've ever gotten has been, let's get older actors or voice actors to aged Ninja Turtles and they're like 19-year-old Ninja Turtles.
Right.
I guess in this one they're like young kids. Like they're gonna grow the turtles with their audience. So the voice actors are like legit. Like when they talk, they sound like they're like 12 or 13 years old. Yeah.
Okay. That's cool.
And Master Splinter is the coolest voice acting choice for this movie. Jackie Chan. Yeah, I think John Cena is one of the voice actors. There's a bunch of really cool. I know you said in the movie for Mario, you're not usually a fan of big named people doing voice acting. So that Ninja Turtles is a lot of that. But I do agree with you guys
like
with your Mario take.
Now too. Like you can't get away from that. So
I thought they did a good job of Mario. If no one stood out and did their own thing, I guess like if anyone stood out the most was probably Bowser as Jack Black, just because Jack Black's voice is the most. But it worked. Like I liked it.
Yeah, I was gonna say Seth Rogen, but you're right. Jack Black was pretty noticeable.
Yeah, I loved it. I thought they were good movies. But if you want more takes on movies and also to be wildly entertained by some of the funniest people on the planet, please go watch Birds on Film with Erica and Big Dust. They do a fantastic job. The edits, the cuts, the little what was the Barbie one where like Morty and it's like, God damn it, I'm in, or whatever. Like I like the cuts. Because I think the best part of consuming content that has goons or goon adjacent goon family is backstage at shows. I'm just always dying hearing like if they're talking in a room, I'll just kind of sit somewhere near just so I can hear because it's always funny. Putting together matches, I don't know how matches happen. Yeah,
that's dangerous. You might hear some. There's probably some cancelable offenses.
That's all right. And also like putting together matches. I don't know how real matches happen. Because not trying to peel a curtain too bad, but it's just like Killian and Dust talking to whoever they're going to work with. They're like, all right, you're going to shoot me off and I'm going to give you a bip, a bang, another bip, another bap. And it's just like, I'm like, how do you put together that? Like, I think they're ribbing each other, and no, they're putting together a match. They're just
so that's the fun thing about working with Killian McMurphy is that you have absolutely no say in what's going to happen out there. He tells you what's going to happen.
My always locker room people to be around is the Goons. Wore his T-shirt in a former episode of Birds on Film. Trajan. Anytime Trajan's around, you can't take anything serious. AJ
Trajan.
Evers is on that list. Just funny people, and if I ever had a Mount Rushmore of the funniest people in professional wrestling, it's probably all of them. Just all of you on one mountain.
That's very
always
sweet.
Good people. I love you to death. Any plugs? Where can people find you? I know you have a merch page. Unfortunately, this shirt not on that merch page.
I know that's the OG. Maybe I'll reprint someday.
Yeah, the soldier one is good. All the shirts are good. What was the one you did? It was like it looked like almost like a Black Dynamite poster. It was like the car. Is that one still available? Where it was like an action movie poster?
Oh, I think it was Officer Miller.
That's what it was. Yeah.
That one was never printed on T-shirts. I don't think. JCP Designs just made that and put it out there. Super talented. Love working with JCP. The Army Man shirt that you described is still available on my What a Maneuver page, which I still have. I know they got canceled, but like it's up there, and I still make money off of that stuff. So
That's
go
good.
ahead.
Yeah.
I have that page, and I have the Pooper 8 shirt still available at any show that you see me at. And you can find me on social medias at Erica Wrestles. The YouTube page is Birds on Film. There it is. Yeah. Kids love that shirt because it says poop. Adults don't like really.
I wear it all the time. I wear it all the time.
But yeah, at Erica Wrestles or on YouTube, Birds on Film. Check out my stupid tweets and my great insights on film. That's what I got.
And also amazing promos to lead up matches. They're always very funny. Yeah.
True.
Didn't you do one on a toilet one time, or you cut a promo from a toilet? Yeah.
For the Super 8 that I renamed the Pooper 8, I was on a toilet. If you freaks want to see me drop a deuce, it's go look at my socials.
The wrestling community has a lot of those people that they're into a lot of things.
True. It's true.
Well, thank you so much. Well, listen, next week on the podcast, we have two big guests coming up. Next up is going to be the president of the Independent Wrestling independent. No.
Big X. Phil Stamper can go to hell.
Oh wow. Well, the president's not gonna want to hear that. You're gonna get that finger. He's not gonna appreciate it. The president.
You know what I don't appreciate? I don't appreciate needing binoculars to look at his calendar.
Oh yeah, when he posts
The
all
text,
of
the text is so minuscule. I like need to put on like my grandmother's antique glasses just to get like barely there.
You know what's hilarious about every time he posts it too is he literally has thousands of shows that are happening within a month, and you have that one promoter like, why aren't I on there? Like, can you see how much work he put into this? Shut up. Why aren't we in there? Are you snubbing us? Like, yeah, you're getting snubbed of the thousands of people.
Should have sent him your show. You know he puts it out.
Exactly. And then following the president will be your co-host of Birds on Film, Big Dust.
Michael Bird. Look at that man. Look, that's Bud the Stud right there.
There it is. The guy's a gem in this business. An absolute gem.
He is. If I could say quickly, just in all seriousness, there is no manager on the independents that does what Dustin does. Sidney Bacabella does something different, and he's amazing. But Dustin is just so good at what he does, and he's such an asset. There are a lot of promotions that will stick a random manager with a random talent and say, go do. And that's not what it's really for. Like, that's not what a manager should be. Dustin is what a manager should be.
There's a handful that I think they stand out, and it's for that reason, because they have that ability to do so. And 90% of them, the ones that stand out, are ones that work with Dustin in that capacity, like your Mary Beths, your coach, Coach Rafts and stuff like that, where they're just they take the role of manager seriously, and they put a lot of work. I think we lost Erica camera here. Can you hear us? We'll back her out for a second here, or we'll just close out there. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for hanging out with us on the ABJ podcast. We'll see you next Thursday for another episode. And, like I said, check out the links below. Make sure you support and subscribe, and let's get that Birds and Film up to more subscribers on YouTube. They put a lot of work into it. It's really, really funny. So go show some support, and we'll see you next time. We're out of here.